Cool, cool. All right. Yeah, this is great, man. I was looking at it. It's like maybe a few things I can give feedback to, but it's looking very nice.
Thank you. The
Um,
head's a bit wild in places.
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. But other than that, the weight, the balance, the timing, everything is very nice. Yeah, the head is here a little bit.
Yeah.
That the head is going out. Also, you're rotating out the head as it's going out. So you're rotating the head this way, but the ref, like you see, the head is more. It doesn't rotate that much. It's like
Yeah.
down. It's just the neck that goes and comes back. And this head movement that you got here is very nice here. This one that the head goes and comes back. One thing, yeah, one thing here, it feels like if you look at the ref, when the head is reaches the extreme that way,
Yeah.
feels like it's also rotating in RZ this way, which is like this, because we are seeing more underside the jaw here.
Yeah.
Might be something that you could exaggerate here to add a little bit more. You have all the rotations and the translations working for that head move. It's just that little bit RZ to plug in. The rotations on the hip that you have is very nice. One thing that you could add a little bit more is here. If you look at the ref,
Yeah.
see, when it's landing, when it lands, the chest locks and then the neck keeps going, which results in the shoulder blades here coming out.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, I know that the rig is not like perfect, what we have, but here maybe the shoulders could shoot up in like 2 frames to show that, uh, and then the neck can rotate. You're rotating the neck from this part forward, which is
Yeah.
great, but it feels like this part is feels a little bit locked.
Yeah.
Whereas when you look at the ref, you feel that this part is going forward and the shoulder blades come up
Yeah.
as it's catching the weight. The legs are very nice. Here, when you go to polish, if you want to polish it more, take a look at the angle of this leg.
Yeah.
When it lands, it's like a little bit more of this angle. Yours is a little bit too straight.
Yeah.
Here, you have more of a break on the hoof.
Yeah.
But yeah, like these are all like nitpicky, like last 5% stuff. Everything else is it's very nice.
It was fun, but very difficult. Turning is just an absolute, like
Yeah,
doing a 180 is just an
yeah.
absolute
It's
pain in
it's
the ass.
it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare, yeah, to get it right. Yeah, yeah. This is very nice. Yeah, I would suggest like if you're for it, polishing this, and then this also could go in your reel. That
Yeah.
is very nice. And then of course a pass on the tail if you want to work on it more.
And the ears as well.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but the essentials is there. Like the physicality is almost there. Everything. It's
Yeah.
just those little things. Very nice.
Thank you.
Cool, cool. All right. Let me see. Since we're recording, I'm gonna go through and look at this one as well, and then
Yeah,
we'll
she
go.
normally turns up about an hour late.
Uh, okay.
Or he. I'm not sure if it's boy or girl.
Cool. Well, we can take a look at it. Well, one thing here is that while animating in slow motion is a great learning tool because you see more information that you would have in real time. However, like studying it is good, but doing an animation based on the slow-mo ref, I wouldn't suggest because one thing that you don't take away from it is that timing because you're animating to a slow motion ref. So I would suggest like the same action if you can find the real time, that would be great. If not, something similar, um, but it's always better to do to study in slow motion ref to understand all the little things that happening. But for the actual animation, it's always better to use a real time. Um, but aside from that, the physicality is very nice. It's working. Yeah, the kick is very nice. Yeah, this is very nice. But again, I would suggest doing it real time. Look at all those muscles rippling. One thing here that's something we would miss sometimes is if you look at this, like um, extending out, and then it extends out, reaches the maximum, and then there's a boom. There's an overshoot, and then it comes back a little. Now, in real time, this would be like one frame, maybe 2 frames, but it's one of those things that you could build in as it extends out, overshoot 2 frame, coming back the hoof and the knee a little bit. It would add so much. On the kick, we have it, and it's very. Yeah. On the kick, is very apparent here. Like the knee goes and the whole leg goes all straight, and then overshoots and then comes back. Feels even feels like this bone is shrinking a little bit. Feels like some squash and stretch, which is impossible within the bone length, but it feels like it. Cool, very nice. Yeah, so this is great as an exercise, but again, if you'd like to do another one like real time, that would also be a good thing to look into. Cool, cool. See, all right. Now today we're gonna have some fun with a Raptor. Now, like in creature work, especially in like games, movies, there are those creatures that we cannot find a ref for, like a dragon, like all kinds of dinosaurs like a griffin, all these mythical like fantasy creatures that there are no ref for, or they've been extinct for so long that we don't have any real footage. So we're gonna start with today with the walk cycle. It's gonna be challenging for me too. I haven't animated a dinosaur for a long time, and we don't have a ref. Now we all have seen dinosaurs in movies, so we have an idea. And of course, there's like documentation. We can do the research on how their mechanics would work, but we don't have the comfort of loading a ref and just analyzing it frame by frame, seeing what needs to be done, and then basically do a first pass and then go from there. A lot of it should come from understanding of locomotion and physicality, and a lot of it should be like we need to improvise because we don't have that looking at the ref luxury. And then, so I chose a raptor. They walk on two legs is relatively easier than a dinosaur who would walk on four legs. There's a lot of other moving parts for those. And then, of course, after this, we're going to do dragon. Dragons are a lot more complicated, and I need to do my homework for that one. This one is a good easing into for these type of creatures. Anyway, let's start. I'm gonna do a walk cycle, and a lot of it again is gonna be like from memory and just going off of what we have learned so far about the physicality of a bipedal creature. I would say 1032 should be enough.
Would you use reference of something like an ostrich for a creature like this?
Yep, that's a great suggestion. Let me see.
Je te barre à porte la maison.
To look at the
Là, oui.
Ce soir, je mange des tortellini aux trois fromages avec une sauce.
so many commercials every time. There we go. Yeah, the legs mechanics are a lot like an ostrich here. And the body too. Of course, the ostrich neck and head has a lot more flexibility than a raptor. But yes, that's a great point. Like we should always look for similar animals who have this more or less the same physicality, at least as a starting point. And then that's going to give us a good place to start with. Okay, this video. But also have to keep in mind the overall weight, and which translates into timing. Heavier creatures move slower. Like a raptor would weigh, I don't know, 5-6 times more than an ostrich, or a lot more. That all being said, it's a great place to start. Kick off. Okay, let's see.
Would you also take into account that you have to make them kind of scary as well? Or would that not really factor into it?
That comes into factor when you want to animate like a in shot context. For a like a walk cycle, you would more concentrate focus on the physicality. However, like if you have a shot and then they tell you, okay, put this walk in here and you should come in and like look around, then you would go in and say, okay, this is a predator. Now I have to look at refs of other predators to see how they would look around, like a lion, like a puma, something that like the head locks into the prey, and then get those information to plug in here. And then of course, depending on the shot, the director might say, okay, here I want really to have it scary, and then you would say, okay, what is those elements that would make a creature scary to the
Yeah.
audience? And you would look at like I don't know, wildlife footage of like lions hunting or whatever you can find, and then you analyze those, see all the little details like the angle of the head, the body, maybe the way they circle the prey, all that stuff, and you then put it in here to let's see. So we have some runs here. Today we want to walk. Okay, so what I see here, if you want to analyze a little bit before we go to our rig, is that the leg, when it lifts up, it's this shape, keeps that shape all the way, rotates more from here, from this joint, get this shape, and then for contact, almost go straight, not straight. And then as that's happening, you see how much the body is rotating in RY. Here, the base of the leg is a little bit in front of the other one, which is here. And then when it's in the contact pose, that distance grows to here. From this much to here. So that means the body is rotating. However, the neck and the head are countering. So as the body rotates this way, the head and neck keep forward. Now, this is not a predator, so it would exaggerate even more in a predator because they lock in and lock into their targets. Of course, in a bipedal character, you would have always the weight shift side to side for each step. And then let's look at the TY. TY seems to be consistent with other bipedals, like go up, land, and then go up. That bounce is there. Yeah, you see the weight. If you look at this guy, the weight shifts all the way to this leg first before this one lifts. Should keep that in mind. Yeah, the TY is a little bit more bouncy. If you look at the guy behind, this guy, boom, boom. So it goes up, stays up, boom, boom. And then looks like we have more time where both legs are on the ground and the body is going forward than a normal walk. You see, it lands here. We have all this time that both feet are on the ground and then the other one lifts. So this we should keep in mind. And then from here, the rotations of the body feels like from contact, body rotates down a little bit. And then when this foot lifts, body rotates back up. And the extreme rotation up of the body is around here in RX. And then again, the cycle. Cool. This is to have. Okay, now, as for any cycle, you need a quick beginning pose for everything. I would just set a quick pose for arms. From what I remember, I've seen movies, the arms of a raptor are like here, and they have a little bit of overlap as they move. They're not too functional, at least for doing the walk. So we can just pose them like this. Make them a little bit different from one another. Cool, now I'll put this in IK so I can animate the hips independent of the chest, and I put the neck in FK so it would follow and I would rotate like that, and the head is also in workspace so that if I rotate the chest, the head and neck maintain the rotation. So let's see. Usually, this is not gonna be easy, but let's see. Usually when we start a walk cycle, we want the contact pose. Something like this, and something like this. And we would want that rotation in the hips that allows for more range of motion. Like that. And of course, we don't want too wide. We want a little bit more on the center line. And then we would go to 17. Enough. Copy this guy. This guy. This guy. This guy. then make the hips are right the other way. Okay, I think good 16 frames and then 16 frames here. It's a little too fast. Okay, if you start on this, and that's here. Now, one thing to remember is that the time from contact to taking off, we need more frames between those, as we saw in the ostrich. So actually, I will add 3 more frames. And here. This will keep going back with the same curve. Of course, we should make everything linear. These guys. Except break this. Okay. It's gonna look very ugly at the beginning. This guy, that. Okay. This guy is a little bit see. Speed it up a little bit. Okay. Quickly see if we can take the bounce in that. Contact. This here. Let's say 354. Up. And 5 frames after. Back up. Okay. And here, add something narrow, not to have the curves straight. Okay, quick press on the legs as they come forward. Here, keep up here, and then this guy for change of shape within this thing here. Otherwise, and go back to oh yeah, looks ugly as hell. Just keep this guy forward. Shape here, here, so. Okay, TY is a little bit too localized. Bounces. So a little bit more. Three frames. Yeah, this one there. 4 frames. And this is contact. This is contact. It's there. And then you get the same curves. Paste them on the chest and then offset the timing a little bit to see if we can get anything free out of it. Maybe 2 frames with the offset. Yeah. And the whole thing feels a little slow. Can speed it up rapidly. Scale down by 4 frames. See how it feels. Still feels slow. 2 more frames. Yeah, this feels better. This guy, 2 frame offset was too much. Maybe 1 frame offset. And it's a little bit, needs to be a little bit less bouncy chest. Because it doesn't have the legs moving for it, so it like stabilizes a little bit more during the walk. I would say these 2 keys can come a little bit more. Just that. This. Yeah, more. Let's look at it from the top. We need to build in those. Oh, what happened here? Let's go. Attention. Why? Minus 17. That's correct. And contact here. And the other way. And then everything else can be in the way. Now we need to counter the rotations a little bit to get those S curves from the top, which is something draw here. Want when the hips go this way, you want to get this curve within the body from the top. So the chest would go that way and the head would always keep straight. And then the other way, when the hips turn this way in RY, and counter the chest that way, and then the head straight, so you would get this curve. So on each step, this curve should, from the top should resemble something like this, which I'm trying to get here. And also remember, there's always the offset of 1 frame. So here I would get this guy, and then go to the other extreme, which is here. This guy minus 16. That. Here. It's a little too much. And then you can rotate it, you can scale it down. Mistake. Here. Right. It's a little too much still, and offset. So Down, offset by one frame. Let's see that. Yeah, this don't work. Leave it for now. When doing the blocking for something like this, I wouldn't bog down, like focus down on one thing to get it right. It's better to get a first pass of everything, even if it's not working 100%. And then you can always go back and refine and refine and refine. Getting that first pass is always the most difficult thing. Now the weight shift side to side, that should happen. Let's say here, it's the extreme. Ooh, too much. This way. And then the other extreme is right here. And then the rest we just need to put somewhere that makes sense. Now you see, look at the hips, which is what drives the action. It's more or less working. Now we need the same side to side. Chest. However, not as much. Okay. Oops. Right here. This. And then offset by one frame. Everything on the chest so far we've offset it by one frame. So we keep it that way until we get the first pass for everything. Now here the up and down on the hips is not big enough. We need more amplitude. Just okay. Okay. Now RZ on the hips. Now we know in a bipedal character, when weight is on one leg, as the other leg is lifting, is more or less like humans. There's a quick drop in RZ as it lifts up, but then it's like a bounce in the RZ, comes back up, and then on the other leg it's the same. Boom, boom. Let's see if we can see what happens in our ostrich ref. We can have ostrich from behind to see what the RZ is. Ah, there we go. Oh, don't run. I need you to walk. It's like something like that. It's hard to see, but it feels like as this foot is lifting, there's an RZ this way. Yeah. And then the other, when this one is lifting, the RZ goes this way. Okay. Let's see if we can break that in. Okay. as this fit this, and here 4 frames, drop the RZ this way. 5 frames comes back up. Goes back down for the contact. Maybe levels out a little bit more. Stays here. Then 4 frames drops the other. Comes back up. Here. Stays. Here lands. I think it needs to start going there. Here. See if this makes sense. It's a little bit too much and a little bit too wobbly. Yeah, the first one is better. Goes, comes back, eases in, then goes again. Eases into here. Frames. Okay. Okay. We need to add a little bit of that RZ to the chest as well. Okay. Now, for this, I have to see how it should do it. Does it counter or does it follow with an offset? So this way. I say it should counter. So we find the hips extremes. One is here, which is that way. Let's see, chest Z. You should go the other way. Oh, that's TZ. mistake. Should go body. Right. Another out. This guy's really care about. And then out. And then we offset everything fine. Yeah. Is good. Just TX is a little bit disconnected from the hips. It's to be more. Yeah. It's to be more in sync. Save before I use my yeah, this is, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you try to save and it gives you that file contains unknown shit, excuse my language. So the way to fix that, let me show you the error. Say Raptor log. So save, it says file contains unknown error. The way to fix that is to go to File, Optimize scene size. You come here, you uncheck everything. Only keep this last one, unknown nodes. And then you say optimize. Then it finds those unknown nodes, deletes them, and then next time you try to save, hopefully, to log one, voila. Okay, what did you want to do? Chest X, side to side, is disconnected from hips. Let's see if this is better. Also, when you're doing a walk cycle, always look at it from all different angles, because a lot of the stuff you see in one angle could be completely wrong from another. Okay, let's do a pass on the head and the neck. Now the neck is an FK. I would say there would be a little bit of overlap on it, not too much. This is a predator. The head and neck in all predators usually lock in, so they would have less of an follow through and overlap. That being said, I think here would be are these. Wait. Back. This. It's a little too, yeah, it's a little too fast. This guy. A little late, the second step. Okay. General timing is there. Can label it as this for now. Move on to the head. One thing we forgot to do. Do we want it to be an overall rotation of the head and neck? Where do we want it to be? Now, if we're doing a like clinical walk cycle, usually we do those for every creature. Like when we're doing a film, we do one that doesn't have any specific personalities or attitudes that you can use like a vanilla walk. That being said, to me it feels like if we rotate down like this, it becomes more aggressive, like it's going on a hunt. When it's up here, it feels more like a casual stroll into the woods. Let's keep it here, maybe a little bit forward to indicate just a touch. And then we need a pass on the head to get the weight of the for each step. So this here is this is contact. Take this here. Paste. It's too sharp. Okay, we can leave it like that. However, we should do a pass on the side to side of the neck, which is RY. To get those curves, see here, want a little bit like this. other extreme, which is here. And yeah, just a little bit. And then you want, oh, that's good enough. Later we can come in and shape the spline more with the icon control here. Let's figure out how we need to do that. Now, tail. The pass on the tail for sure. What kind of ref would you have for a creature with a tail like this? Crocodile? Yeah. Or maybe crocodile. Let me see. Now this is a quadruped. However, the base of the tail follows the rotation of the hips. Okay. Which is normal. The base would follow, and then I would say the rest would have a little bit of like this action as it's walking. Oh, and just as we said that, Maya crashed on me. Let me see if it's safe. Doesn't let me. And we lost all the work. Beautiful. Oh yeah. Okay. Have to do everything again. It's okay. In the meantime, let's take a quick look at this guy here. Okay. Yeah, we went through it quickly, but now that you're here, let's take another look. Now, yeah, so for learning purposes as an exercise, it's very good to study slow motion. However, for doing your animation, I would strongly suggest finding your ref in real time and doing the animation to real time, because this is great for understanding all the little details of the for the mechanics of the animal, of the horse. However, you don't get the timing and the weight out of it, which you would get if you do a like a normal real time. So keep that in mind. However, that being said, let's take a look. This is great to study. Yeah, the kick is working. What you have here, the rotation of the hips as you have it in RX, I think that's very well observed. Here, as the legs go here, the hip is rotating this way, and then you can clearly see here the hip starts to go rotate that way, because to allow for the legs to kick back. And here you can see this angle that is created on the spine, because the hips rotate to the maximum for the kick. Sit here, and then as the legs land, they go back. That's great. Look at this leg here. It feels like it's locked in IK during these frames. It's not moving. Ah, you do that in animation, they tell you, oh, fix that please. Yeah, but overall it's nice. One thing here, pay attention to the TY of the chest. You see the TY of the chest versus TY of the hips. They're almost on a straight line. The chest is a little bit higher, but here the TY of your chest is like have this angle. Your head and neck is doing the right thing, the legs are doing the right thing. Here, I know it's because of the rig skinning, but keep in mind here, we need to see this, 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 and this. That's like the silhouette of the back leg. Here, your butt goes straight into here. And we don't have this. So it's probably because the rig doesn't have those corrected blend shapes, but just to keep in mind. And then one thing that we saw earlier, something that you would maybe not see in real time is all those overshoots for violent actions. For example, for the kick is very apparent, like the back legs overshoot for the kick and then come back, boom. Is for the front legs here, when they extend and stretch out, is more subtle. But if you look at this leg here, you see right before it lands, it goes boom and then comes back a little boom. It's right there. From here goes straight and then goes back, goes straight and then goes back. If you want to do it in real time, it would be 1, maybe 2 frames. Boom, it would be very quick. But it would be one of those extra details that add so much. Cool. Yeah, so yeah, I would suggest doing another exercise if you like, and doing it based on a real-time ref. And as we have to close our Maya and open Maya, oh man, I hate Maya crashing. There's a window pops up and says, hey, your error message was sent to Autodesk desk. We try to get back to you to fix it. Oh wait, maybe it's saved. Could it be? No! It's saved. As it was crashing, it saved. Nice. Ah, I was too harsh on Maya. Good job. Okay. Now we do an official save. Okay. We were on the tail. Now we said the base of the tail should follow the hips. So we will find the extreme for the hips here. This guy. Here. So that's the base. And then what we will do is that we built a little bit of that overlap through the rest of it. So maybe this guy as well could be grab the curves, copy on the next guy, but let's scale them down. Offset one file. Now you find the extremes for the overlap. I would say one of them is here, another is and then okay. Yeah, something. However, we need to have to graph editor to clean them up to make sure here we'll have they don't flat out because the transition is right in the middle. Okay, so we got the rotation in one axis for the tail. Now we need to get it in this axis as well, which would be RZ. Otherwise, it would be too disconnected and localized from the rest of the body. Now here, okay, now one thing that we forgot to do is to actually do the RZ on the chest, on the hips and chest, which is a big mistake. RX, sorry. RX, you see there are no keys here. Now, how would the RX work here? Let's say it should be more or less here, it would come out. Here as the legs come up, it would go like this. And then as it lands, goes back a little. Kind of like the hips of any quadruped. And then something like this. And then go back to 0 to make it easy. Copy paste the same thing. Let's see what this gives us. Okay, it's not less of a bounce, more of a transition, I would say. Because the bounce doesn't feel, yeah, this is copy and paste. This goes to flat. Okay, now that we did that, we need to do the same for the chest. Save. Now for the chest. Okay, let's go back to our ostrich. See if we can find the chest. The walk. Okay, this guy in the back. So if we look at the chest, well, for the ostrich, it's the whole body. So we can take a little bit of license here and see the chest. Here, when this leg is about to lift, looks like the chest rotation is this way in RX. And then it lifts up around here. And then goes again, something like that. Let's see if we do that. And again, because there's no real ref of a dyno, so these things are a little bit of a trial and error. You see something, you try it, you feel it out. If it works, if it doesn't, it's not a clear cut as you would do with other refs that we have like a actual animal. Okay, if we want to do the same, so here as this foot lifts, chest should have a little bit of a downward rotation. And then it lifts up to here. Here. And then goes back again. Continues. Oh, feels okay, but the content. Okay, we can clean that later. Yeah, it feels good. It's rotation. Right. Okay, now I will save this one. I want to try something else as a straight overlap for the chest to see how that feels. From here to here, we will drag. Here to here, we go back down. Contact, come back. For some reason this feels better. Again, this is like kind of a judgment call. There's no ref for it. It is okay. Now that we did our X on those guys, we need to do a pass on the tail. I would say here is the, oh no. Strangely enough, when we get to tail, our X becomes RZ. And this rig, if it was at work, we would send a ticket for the rigging and say, please stay consistent with the rotations of the controls. However, it's a free rig, we don't have that actually. Then come back to here to it's a little bit too soft. Just a little bit sharper the tongue. Yeah, this one feels good. Now it's a little bit too sharp. A little bit too much too. Okay, now that we have that, we can build the overlap on the second half, or like the tail part of it, and part of it. First, I would copy paste the same graphs. We have RZ, next joint. Then scale them down. Then we would grab these guys and see what's with it. Now here, when I'm trying to see the extremes of the tail, I look at where is the most the biggest spacing for the tail. When it's going down, where is the biggest spacing faster? And the same thing when it's coming back up. Wherever is that I see that the most it has the most acceleration and speed, that's the part we want to have the extreme of the overlap this way. Same thing when it's coming back up, the biggest part is that when we want to have it this way, so that we would get this kind of motion. Okay, let's see. Our Z is here. Set 2 frames later. And around here, it zeroes out. Copy paste this here. Get this. Do this guys. Let's see. Yeah, it's not super clean, but it's working. Okay, now we need to get the RZ, so to speak. I don't know what I think it's RX here, on the tail. So it's not always like this. It always rotates like it also rotates like that. So let's see. Oh, it's a little bit localized. Okay, get the first two guys. Now, for that, we should follow more or less logic. Here, when the hips go this way, I would say Rx. Oh, the Rx is not changes. Okay, need some. Here, so it's the extreme for this way. Here is the extreme other way. And then these two guys are just connecting them. Yeah. Usually what ends up happening is that the tip of the tail, if you draw the arc, it's like something of a figure eight. Which is what we have here. It feels overall a little too much, the tail movement, but we can always go back and tone it down. One thing we forgot to do, pass on the arms. Now the arms on the Raptor, as far as I know, is like when they walk, it's just they go through it like a overlapping motion. They don't have any function within the mechanics of the walk. They don't contribute. They're just there. They're just hanging there. So to add that, we need a little bit of overlapping motion for them. We would start with this joint. Let's see. Yeah. Something like this. And then our X. And yeah. And then this guy would just be an overlap of this guy. Rotation is on Y, interestingly enough. Okay. This is too much. Okay. So that. Contact is here. Paste. And then we need the rotations on the wrist as well. Ah, come on. Again. Okay. Oh, yeah,
Do you
yeah.
have it in parallel?
Yeah, yeah, maybe that's the issue. Yeah, you're right. When I come back, I shall change that. But yeah, the problem is that it plays in real time, so you don't have to play blast. But yeah. Now it doesn't open even the game. Oh, there we go. At least it saves as it crashes, which is great. Sometimes it doesn't do that even. It just goes into and it's first order of business animation. Where is it? DJ. Oh, yo, now we get 11 frames per second. Okay, at least if it doesn't crash, that's nice. We're doing the RX here. Um, ah, now I cannot see anything. Okay, it's not too bad. Okay, now do the same thing quickly for the other arm. Just so that it's not locked in there. RZ. This guy is RY. And the rest was RX. Okay, not bad. Now we didn't spend much time on the legs. Now is the good time to do that. Now, if you bring up the TZ, the legs going back should be linear. Which is it? And then as it lifts, it's not doing the right thing here. It should stay behind like that. Stays behind so that it can roll, like peel off on the tip of the toes, and then the toes going to overlap here more. So here it's good. Here is good. Here. And then the T wide now is only 2 keys, which is not good. Here, as you see, it's going through the ground because of that. This is a little bit. Then for the contact coming to the landing, you want to feel the weight of that foot and the leg. Boom. So you make the curve a little bit more vertical coming down, like a bouncing ball. Here we don't see anything because it's not going right, but that's the goal. So that's one thing. Also, we need short and rotations to make the foot alive, not just locking the RY and the RZ. Now, one thing I forgot to do, there's always a little bit of rotate out when the foot lands. It's not like facing forward, so something like this. And then as it moves from here, usually rotates out. That. Same thing we do with RV. As it goes forward, goes into this. Okay, now TX. As the foot comes forward, it goes, you should go out and then come back in and not always on a straight line. So, here. I would say 3 frames. It even goes a little bit in as it's lifting off, and then here maybe. This guy, I'll make it not flat. This guy, let's try something, didn't work. Usually it's as it passes the other leg, it should have the most extreme. There we won't rate. Then we do a pass on the knees. Don't remember my knees. Now where are my knee control? So it's the whole leg. Okay. We should go back in as the leg stretches, stands out. Here, come out a little. Here's intersecting the body. Out. Slightly beats. Forgot to the. Oh, wait. No, it's not the same rotation. Oh my god. The rotations and the wrist are not the same from left to right. RX is something else here. It's RY here. It's distributed like that, but yes. So here, what we can do, we can scale down the thing. And the other rotation that we didn't want, but we don't delete it, we keep it. It adds a little bit of life. Yeah, it's not. Behind. Okay, one thing we forgot to realize here is this guy. This guy. The change of shape in the leg as it moves through the walk cycle is important to get. Now again, we should go back to our ostrich friend to see how that change of shape works. Okay, so you see here, when it's passing, we have the most fold, if you will, and then on the contact, everything goes toward a straight shape, and then as it takes the weight, get that. So for contact, we want to go toward a straight shape. The rotation is Rx. Now, if this is on contact, it's hard to get a straight shape. This, because it's not one-to-one, however, let's say this, and then as it takes the weight, it goes into this, and then it comes back up. From here, that it goes out until here. Until to here. Okay, you can try it. Let's see. What we had was working. Yeah, not bad, not bad. This can work. Even exaggerate the taking of the rate. Like to get this guy moving the, I think it's the ankle. I'm not sure if it is actually the ankle. But now we have this control here as well. Which should not. Okay, if we can get a little bit on top as the so here. Okay, we can leave that for there. Okay, now unfortunately, okay, I'm gonna save and take the chance to go parallel to see it in real time. There we go. Oh yeah, the leg is working. It's better. You feel that change of shape as it's moving. It's not like one shape going through. Now, what we can do, well, obviously we should do what we did on one leg to the other leg, but that's just a copy paste. Something else that would add is this guy to shape from the top. So for here, we would want this shape to reinforce that curve. Actually, it has a little bit of delay versus the chest and the hip. Here, a little bit of delay. Keep it here. And we go back to this. Now from this side, sorry, it doesn't work. TY of the hips still feel a little bit. Also, we need a little bit more to be higher. Yes. Okay. Now we need to have add some rotations to the head because right now we only have the overlap in this axis. for RY. I would add a little bit of overlap, just a touch, not too much. Again, this is a predator and the head wouldn't have too much movement. So where is the most space? It's from here. Something like this, maybe. Let's try it. No, no, the overlap route doesn't work. I'll try something else. I'll try counter. And here, this way. As it goes to this side, it comes this way. As it goes back to here, goes to this. And with a little bit of delay. Again, because there's no real ref, this is something that's I need to trial and error to see if we can get. No, this is not working. I think now. Yeah, the head feels good already because it's not following the body. However, one thing is that it's too much side to side here. Now, it needs to be more stable. Something else that is very good to add for cycles, never leave everything in like a zero. Always make them a little bit out of the default pose. For example, the head is like perfectly level. Get it. So set the base rotation here. Just a little bit, just to break up. And of course, we can have that. Remember when we were doing the line walk cycle, for each step, the head would do boom, boom, because of the weight on the RZ, which here is RX. Now we can take it from the lion and put it on our Raptor. Here. Three frames, slow. Something like this. See if it works. I think. No, the other way is okay. I should go back and look at the line ref. We're running out of time, so I don't. But yeah, the correct way would be to go and see what the rotations were. Out, right? Yeah, maybe it needs to be sharper the timing. Okay. This. Now overall, everything feels a little mechanical right now. But again, it's normal because it's a rough blocking pass. And after this, we should go in and like really pay attention to all the spacings and timings to make everything good. Nice. However, one thing that I just saw, oh, yo, look at these guys here. This would add so much. You just add a layer of overlap, like a jiggle pass. For big creatures, when you add all those jiggles, it gives the information for the weight because the timing of those jiggles sell the weight. Like when you have a like a small creature, the jiggles are like 1 or 2 frames. Boom, boom. When the creature gets bigger, the jiggles will be like boom, boom. So it's like a one of the visual cues that people pick up when they are perceiving weight, like the mind associates that with weight. So here we can do that. Contact is here. Let's add a little bit of jewel to the sky. Why is it? TX. Yeah, like you see here, it's like 3 frames, 4 frames, 4 frames. The jiggle cycle. Make it a little bit slower in the interest of setting the weight. Right here, that's one. Then we will take this, copy curves, put it in cycle, contact, then get the whole thing, go to this guy, and offset by 1 frame. Now it's too much, we should reduce the whole thing by a lot. But then let's add it to the last one. And offset by 2 frames. Now we get everybody and just scale them way down. You see, it's one of those things that you wouldn't pick up on first glance, but the mind sees it and it helps with adding the rig. Now, if you add that on, like if the rig has controls for the bottom of the stomach, you would add that. It also helps a lot with setting the weight. And then one thing we forgot to add is a little bit of jaw movement so it doesn't feel locked. sometimes. Here to here. Files. Closes to here. Yeah. Just a touch of overlap. Okay. Save. Strict doesn't have too many extra controls. Add all those little details. We forgot to add shoulders. Oh yeah. Okay. Shoulders. Citations. Now, again, because the arms are not functional, the shoulders wouldn't see them, I would guess, too much to move. However, we can add a little bit of up and down for keep alive. It's T, or they go against each other. It's TX. Not too much. Just a touch. Goes back up. And balance out. Something like this. Yeah, you see just enough that we see that shoulder move a little so it's not frozen within the lock. And then copy that on the other guide, but we have to change the and we can offset the timing by 1 frame so that they don't have the same timing. Okay. For blocking is not too bad, I would say. Now you see one thing that is interesting is that if we didn't have the tail, the balance would be off. If this was here, if we didn't have that long tail to balance the weight of the chest, the head and neck, in this pose, the dinosaur would fall head first, like on the ground. But because of the weight of the tail and how long it is, it can balance out on the 2 legs. And of course, this comes into play for like when for the change of direction when they want to change a hard kind of hard corner. The tail will come into action. It's like something that cheetahs do when they're going like the high speed, like 120 kilometers per hour, and then suddenly want to change direction. The tail acts as a counterweight to better facilitate that. We can take a look at it later. but just something to keep in mind that the tail is not just an overlap. For a walk cycle, it is, but if you have a shot when you want like a jump, like a run, coming to a stop, then you really have to think about how the tail would come into action and help to sell to help the momentum of the body, or to stop it, or to keep it going, or to change direction. Okay, I would say it's not bad. Unfortunately, we don't have a ref to look at it and see. Maybe I can pull up Jurassic Park. They had some good. The last one had some good Raptor animation in it. Let's see. Yeah, looks like we're not too far off. Come on, show me a little walk. There we go. Yeah. Let me quickly get this so we can frame by frame through it. Now, looking at animation as a reference for animation is never a good idea. You always want to go to the source. Now, in this case, obviously that's not possible. And so, let's go. Walk was here. Yeah, they're doing mostly what we did. Rotations, the up and down. Yeah, you see, the head is like perfectly like locked to the targets. Okay. Oh, his reaction is late. Come on. This reaction that it does is late. But okay, so it looks like we're not too far off. And then we're gonna see. Oh, look at this. This is cool. Any questions? Any concerns? For next week, I would suggest doing something more complicated. Now, we can do two things if you have the time. One would be a run cycle for this Raptor. Or if you feel lucky and adventurous, you could just do the run cycle, but put it in shot context. And then the raptor would run, maybe come to a stop, maybe as it's running, it's hunting something and goes for a bite, or it's running and jumps over something. Now, obviously, that's gonna need more time to block out. Let's see. What else? That wouldn't be too difficult. Yeah, I think running, do a hard, like turning a hard corner. That will also be a very good exercise. Like when you're gonna run, because it needs to slow down, turn the body, the tail come into action. That's also good if you want to do. So one of these three things, either a simple run, or a run that you put in the shot context and then do something with it. Either comes to a stop, or it's running, it's biting, trying to bite something, like to grab it, or to come to a stop and turn. One of these things would, like all of them would have good good learning value. And then for when you're working, I would suggest putting the head into word space. Like if you set the global here to 10, that would result in, if you rotate the chest, the head will always stay forward. And then same with the neck. If you like to work with FK neck, again, put the global to 10, so it doesn't rotate, it doesn't inherit the rotations of the chest. And then same with the tail, because you don't want to counter it when you're animating. And yeah, and that's it. And have fun. Yeah, the dinosaur is very fun.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you guys. Let me know again if you have any questions on the chat, and we'll try to get back to you.